Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve. Hi, everybody. It's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. How y'all doing? It's good to see you. Good to be seen. Sorry, I'm a few moments late. I'm going to an event in a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I was ready before I came online to talk to y'all. I usually talk about what I did the week before, and it was the 4th of July, so I didn't do nothing. I caught up on some very much needed sleep. But before I get into it, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you were on the YouTube, the Twitter, the X, whatever the hell it's called. And Facebook Live or LinkedIn watching me. Thank you for popping in. I know Brandon popped by, and he says that he can't wait for Smurfs next week and Bad Guys 2 on August 1st and July 28th. He can't wait for Gumball to come back too. And I told him, great, I'll see you in a few. And here I am. With my Snagglepuss laugh. Anywho, this is going to be fast and furious, y'all, because I'm trying to get up out of here. And I didn't want to do it too late because I know y'all are still doing barbecue and all the things that comes along with a holiday weekend. But this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to get into this documentary that is streaming on HBO. It's called Dear Ms., A Revolution in Print. It is fascinating. I can't wait to tell you all about it. I'm going to get into Heads of State, which is also streaming on Prime Video. I'm going to get into Dora and the Search for Sol Dorado, which is streaming on Nickelodeon. The Old Guard, too, which is also streaming on Netflix. And, of course, Zombies 4. Have the whole cast that is pictured right there. I'm going to be talking to all of them. And I still want y'all to check out Jaws 50 because it's on Peacock streaming as well. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk a little bit about Heads of State first. Heads of State is, before I get into it, do y'all remember when Priyanka Chopra was on this NBC show called Quantico and she was kicking butt all the time? Well, baby, she is back kicking butt again in Heads of State. It is directed by Ilya Nashuler and is who is also the filmmaker behind Hardcore Henry in 2015 and Nobody in 2021. But in this action comedy, Heads of State, the UK Prime Minister, Sam Clarke, played by Idris Elba, and the US President, Will Derringer, played by John Cena, have a not-so-friendly, very public rivalry that jeopardizes their country's special relationship, quote unquote. But when they become the targets of a very powerful and ruthless foreign adversary who proves more than a match for the two leaders' security forces, they are forced to rely on the only two people they can rely on and trust, each other. Ultimately allied with the brilliant MI6 agent Noel Bissett, played by the beautiful Priyanka Chopra Jones, they must go on the run and find a way to work together long enough to thwart a global conspiracy that threatens the entire world. Now, let me tell y'all something. Baby, this film reunites John Cena and Idris Elba. This is the first time they've been on screen together since the Suicide Squad, but this time they're not trying to kill each other. Well, maybe. maybe not. I don't know. I'll tell you in a little bit. But this film is fast-paced. It is lots of action sequences and creative stunts. My favorite creative stunt sequence is at the beginning of the movie. It's done with some tomatoes in Italy. That's with Priyanka Chopra sliding in them. That's all I'm going to say. That's all you need to know. But it was fire. It opens up, like, it doesn't waste any time in the beginning when it opens up, but it does, the pacing does get a little slow in that first act of the movie. But the movie kind of is a throwback to like those 90s buddy comedies where one hates one, the other one hates one, they hating on each other, one likes one hates one. It's like a whole bunch of stuff going on. But what I will tell you about this film is that two things. I loved the women in the film, Priyanka Chopra being one of them, that they were the villain and the heroine, the two women that play those roles. I love that they weren't eye candy or that they weren't props for the men for the purposes of romantic liaisons. I really love that about the film. I love the action sequences. I love Jack Quaid, who was really starting to carve out a nice career for himself. And he's having a smash up 2025 because he released Companion and Novocaine earlier this year. This is his third film this year, in addition to the two that I just mentioned. And in this film in particular, his role is very reminiscent of his uncle Randy Quaid in Independence Day. And if you haven't never seen Independence Day, and which I can't imagine that you haven't, but the character that Randy Quaid plays in Independence Day is the character who claims that he has been abducted by aliens. And then something happens at the end of the film where he ends up going into the spaceship to save the world. But I'll say that about Jack Quaid. What I will say about Heads of State, though, is that it is corny. It's really corny. It's not doing anything new. But you know what? We need a good chuckle right about now. After all the shit that went down this week, I need to laugh. So as corny as it is, I'm gonna recommend you see it because everybody need a good laugh and a good chuckle. I'm just saying. Speaking of good chuckles, Dora the Explorer is back in a new adventure. She's in search of the Sol Dorado. It is streaming on Nickelodeon right now, kids. And in this one, Dora, who is our greatest explorer, and her friends are trekking through the perilous dangers of the Amazonian jungle in search of ancient treasure of Sol Dorado to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. This is what I love about Dora. It gives you, and if you've never seen Dora before, it gives you a little bit of insight at the beginning of the film of who she is, why she became an explorer, and how we ended up here. Capiche? Capiche. Samantha Lorraine, who plays her, is absolutely fantabulous. She has all the joy and the positivity and the hope that the Dora character has had year after year after year, even in the cartoon version on Nickelodeon. Danielle Pineda, who I spoke to from The Accountant too, she is the villain in this one again. She loved playing in villain roles. Anyway, she plays Camilla the Crusader, a legend in the world of archaeology and Dora's childhood hero. And my boy, Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, is the voice of Boots, Dora's monkey sidekick and best friend. What I gathered from this is it kind of felt like a Latina version of Indiana Jones, which I kind of dug it. The cinematography was really crisp and clean. The costumes and the hair and everything was very crisp and clean, and it kept to the franchise of Dora, which I really, really love. But the message in this film is about, sometimes, you know how there's that saying that you don't want to meet your heroes because they'll disappoint you. Well, in this film, Dora meets her hero and she disappoints her, but then it ends up flipping itself on its head. So if your kids have not had enough corn and hot dogs and hamburgers and fireworks for the weekend, sit their little butts down in front of the TV and let them watch a little Dora the Explorer to get their entire life on, okay? Let's get into the next one, The Old Guard 2, which is streaming on Netflix right now. It is based on the world created by Greg Rucka and illustrator Leandro Fernandez. And Charlize Theron is back. but the director from the last one, Miss Gina, she is not back. And I feel some kind of way about that. But anyway, Charlize is back as Andy, and her team of immortal warriors return. And this time they're directed by Victoria Mahoney with a renewed sense of purpose in their mission to protect the world. Now, Booker, who's played by Matthias Schoenaerts, is still in exile after his betrayal, and Quinn, Veronica Nyo, is out for revenge against Andy after escaping her underwater prison. So what they do is they keep flashing back every once in a while to what's happening, or how everybody got to this position in The Old Guard 2. They flip back and forth a lot, which for people that haven't seen the first one, it gives them some context. I can appreciate that and I can respect that. Andy's also grappling with her newfound mortality. So in this one, she's not immortal for most of the film. And Andy and Niall, played by Kiki Lane, Joe, played by Maureen Kanzari, Nikki Luca, played by Nuka Marinelli, and James Copley, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, enlist the help of Tua, played by Henry Golden, who was also having a nice year film-wise. We saw him earlier this year in Another Simple Favor too, and I think there was even one more film that I saw him in. Anyway, Tua is an old friend who may provide the key to unlocking the mystery behind their immortal existence. What I loved about the Old Guard too is that it's lots of action, lots of girls kicking butt, which I'm always down for that. But it has Charlize Theron facing off with Uma Thurman, which I got my entire life watching that. Loved it, loved it, loved it. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping through this one. I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot of adrenaline pumping. But what I will say about the Old Guard too, I'm kind of salty that Gina is not back directing it. I'm also salty that the two Black characters played by Kiki Lane and Chiwetel Ejiofor, they're kind of just props. They're not really utilized except for like two scenes. One where Kiki Lane is having a fight scene with Booker, challenging him on his skills, and another one where Chiwetel Ejiofor is kind of just running through the streets with Andy, played by Charlize Theron. But their characters had more purpose and had more backstory and just had more presence in the first one than they do in this one. And I kind of wasn't having that. Then there was this half-baked LGBTQ story that was happening, which I wasn't a big fan of. It was introduced but not really explored, and I was kind of like, I'm not quite sure what's happening here, but why even bring it up if you why put it in there like a footnote if you're not really going to explore it just for the purposes of saying we have two gay characters in the film? Like, why? I did like the transference of the mortality from one character to another. I did kind of dig that and how that happened and how it affected one character to another. Will there be an Old Guard 3? Do we need an Old Guard 3? I'm not so sure. I'm not sure we need an Old Guard 3, if I'm being honest. Okay. What are y'all saying over here? It has been a minute. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad I look well. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm glad I look well. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So do we need an Old Guard 3? I don't think so, but they open it up to make it look like we're probably gonna get an Old Guard 3. But based on the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, I seriously doubt it. All right. One more thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Dear Ms., the Ms. Revolution in Print. Oh my God. I loved this documentary so much. All of these films, by the way, that I'm speaking about, they all dropped on July 2nd. Isn't that crazy? Everything dropped on July 2nd, just in time for the July 4th holiday. Anyway, Dear Ms., A Revolution in Print is now streaming on HBO and Max. It is a 3-part film directed by multiple filmmakers, Salima Karoma, Alice Gu, and Cecilia Aldarando, and is produced by William Venture and McGee Media. Now, it's done in 3 parts. The first part deals with, let me come back on camera. The first part deals with how Ms. Magazine came into existence and how a lot of reporters, including some really famous ones, I won't mention them by name, kind of dogged it. Well, I am going to mention him by name because it stands to be mentioned. Harry Reasoner, who also was known for bullying and being a butthead to Barbara Walters, went on his commentary segment of his show talking about how Ms. Magazine sucked. We don't need a feminist magazine. Blah, blah, blah. Well, he got his butt handed to him because, baby, the magazine, when it first came out, had about 400,000 copies. And by the time it was done, it had over, I think, 200 million readers or something, somewhere close to that. But he got his butt handed to him. I was like, yeah, thank you and good night. Then, because there wasn't a whole lot of representation women of color. They brought in Marsha Ann Gillespie, who was the editor over at Essence magazine, to kind of, center on women of color and reimagine what the magazine looked like. The covers of the magazine had all white women on them. And it's like, there's not all white women that live in the country. So if you're going to have a magazine called Ms. Magazine, it should reflect all women in the diaspora. And that is what Marsha Ann Gillespie brought to it. And we hear all about that in part one. They also talk about how the magazine tackles such topics as abortion and Shirley Chisholm's bid for president. It was received by women wholeheartedly. They were hungry for this type of not controversy, but they were hungry for this type of coverage when it came to women, where it wasn't just, you modeling some clothes and looking cute. It really delved into the things that matter to women and things that women were interested in. Part two, they call it a portable friend, which I kind of dug them calling it a portable friend, because I kind of think of my podcast as a portable friend. I was like, ooh, maybe I need to retag the Curvy Critic. Instead of shooting straight from the hip, maybe I need to be like the Curvy Critic, a portable friend. I'm just saying. What do you think? I don't know. What else are y'all be talking? This looks interesting. Oh, dude, it is totally interesting. I promise you that. So it talks about it being a portable friend. They had this really famous men's issue where you don't see the man's face, you just see the back. And the back of the man, ironically enough, was Robert Redford. It's just his back and his butt. He has a really cute butt. Well, he did then anyway. That photo was very controversial, as the cover was, where they featured a battered women's issue. They talked about sexual harassment. That phrase, sexual harassment, was actually coined by a writer at Ms. Magazine. And then we get into part three, that's called No Comment, where it talks about how the magazine began to get criticized and critiqued about its representation of female, how do I want to say this? There was a complex debate around how sexual exploitation versus self-expression by women was tackled by Ms. Magazine. It's all very, very interesting. And the magazine took its focus from the 1978 cover story saying erotica and pornography. Like, they really, Ms. Magazine went there. And Ms. Magazine, the founder of it, it was like 6 women, but the one people recognize the most is Gloria Steinem. She's the person that you wholeheartedly recognize when you hear Ms. Magazine. But again, y'all, I highly suggest that you check it out. It is called Dear Ms., A Revolution in Print. It's on HBO Max right now. Check out not the old guard, Heads of State, which is streaming on Prime Video. Dora the Explorer is streaming on Nickelodeon. The Old Guard is streaming on Netflix. And now we're going to get into the last thing of the day, which is Zombies 4. Woohoo! I love the Zombies franchise. It is so much fun and it's so prolific. Now, I cannot review it, but I can show these interviews where we talk about the dance sequences, and then I will have the review up on my site, thecurvyfilmcritic.com. You see the scroll going across the bottom of the screen. You will be able to see my review there when the embargo lifts in a couple of days. But for right now, I'm just going to play this little interview with y'all that I did with the leads of the film, Mr. Milo Manheim, Meg O'Donnelly, who plays Zed and Addison respectively. And they are also the executive producers, along with Malachi Barton and Freya Sky. Here we go. So let's talk about the dancing in the sand, because that wore me out. I danced. Listen, I'm a dancer. I know what it's like to dance on a flat surface and go from that to some carpet, but some sand, really?
It was so hard. I was saying I struggle to walk on the sand, like on a beach day, let alone doing this crazy choreography. So it was a challenge. And like thinking I had it in the rehearsal studio, being like, this is going to be great when we film, to being on the beach, I was like, I don't have it the way I thought I did.
Yeah. It was rough. I can't even lie. It felt like I hit leg day for like a month and a half after that one. I didn't hit legs. I don't hit legs either way, but I just definitely did not hit legs after that. Like it was, no, your legs feel like they are just an additional 10 pounds. Like, it's like
But the turning though.
the spinning is the hardest part because you're like, your feet just don't move.
So how do you navigate that? How did you turn?
Try your best. I mean,
try your best.
You execute.
it was really, really difficult. It was so hard. And I mean, the dancers too, they were doing flips and like pirouettes and stuff. A lot of the time I could just be like, okay, this is really difficult. I'm just gonna like sing and like go for it for this part and just kind of give it that. But like they were going crazy, so like incredible.
I think the big thing with like the turns and everything like that are giving yourself way more power than you think you need, because oftentimes when you're spinning, like you spot yourself like on a turn, and like, but for this, doing it on hardwood, you need a certain amount of power to get around, but like doing it on sand, you have to like fully throw yourself to like get around because of how much slower you move in the sand.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, I am inspired because y'all did that.
you should try. You should go to Malibu and go.
Oh no, I will not be trying that.
Next time you're at the beach.
You should learn the place to be dancing.
Girl, I am black. I will not be at nobody's beach trying to get nobody's tan. I came with one, so no. Anywho, that is my time. Anywho, that is my time. And I wanted to thank y'all for giving me a slice of yours.
You're amazing. I love you
I
so
love
much.
you so much.
I love y'all too.
You want to just stay?
Yeah. For the rest of the day, please.
Can I stay? I would love to. I gotta go have lunch. It's a situation.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah.
It is a situation.
All right, cut. One thing that I love about the franchise is that it gives that message of we get more done together than we do separately, more united than divided, right? I really, really love that. But as executive producers this time around, did that message resonate with you a little bit harder?
My favorite part about being in this franchise is that we have that message sort of at the bottom of every movie. But I feel like, you know, they always resonate really hard. I think it was a little different this time, A, because of our new kiddos that are here and like watching them really take this on. But B, I feel like as a producer, there's a responsibility in like conveying this message, and we have say in how we're going to do that. So I think, yeah, that was like the cool thing to search for as we went through it. But there was, I'm looking at it from so many different angles. A, just enjoying it as a passenger in this ride, and B, as like a coach and somebody who's trying to like make it happen. You know what I mean?
I do. So what's your favorite vampire or zombie movie, or do you have one?
We're talking a lot about Twilight today.
Oh.
I know.
Iconic.
I also really loved The Walking Dead when it was in its prime. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, zombies.
Warm
You got
Bodies.
everything in zombies.
Yeah,
Warm Bodies,
that's
great
true.
one.
Y'all better go ahead, because I am so not that girl. I can't do the vampires or the zombies.
I never was
Yeah.
either, but I guess this movie really opened my mind up. Yeah.
Let's talk about the dancing. That scene where y'all dance in the middle of that little meadow grass thing, and you've got those pumps on like about like that. I was like, get it.
Yeah, thank you.
How long did y'all have to rehearse that, and how difficult was that? Because I'm sure that the moisture and stuff up there, hitting that surface was a little difficult, and I'm sure your Dancing with the Stars moves helped you out a lot.
We try. Hey, thank you for bringing that up, because like that's one of our favorite parts of the movie, so I'm happy that you love that part as well. I think like we had time to rehearse that one and it felt pretty good, but I think it was like, okay, now we're gonna do it on this rock over here and like whatever, which we only had a couple days to figure out, if that. So I think it's just
Yeah.
adapting.
It was really stressful too, because like the whole morning it was super cloudy and it looked like it was about to rain, and we were like, okay, well, let's at least get a shot done before, just to see what it looks like, whatever. And as soon as we started rolling, the clouds literally just opened up and we were like, so yeah, I think that just made everything so much more magical. And yeah, I mean the colors, it looks so cool with the blue and the green.
I know, it looks fake. That's the
It
problem.
does.
It didn't look fake to me.
Okay, good.
It didn't look fake to me.
Okay, good.
It was such a beautiful, maybe we're just watching it and we're just like, we know how beautiful it was there.
Yeah.
We're like, people aren't even gonna believe it.
Yeah.
Sometimes cameras don't adequately capture the beauty or encapsulate the beauty in places like that. It's really hard, because I've been in locations like that. Like I've been in Australia, and there's some parts of Australia that just don't
like,
show
yeah, it
up
doesn't
the
do it
same.
When you
justice,
take a
right?
picture,
Well,
it just
I think
doesn't
we
look
got that.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job capturing it in this movie, at least for that part, because it looked so amazing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And passing on the torch, does that mean y'all not gonna be in the next Zombies?
Who knows? We definitely don't.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see which way the flame gets fanned from this
Yeah.
torch. Yeah.
Well, before I go, I just want to thank you guys for giving me a slice of your time today. And I love these zombie movies because they're so positive and they're so uplifting. And I'm a musical theater geek too, so I just got everything. I got all my little fixes in one fell swoop.
Yay.
I
That's
thought
why we love the movie too. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for spending your time. Yeah.
Oh, of course, I got you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's good seeing you again.
It's good seeing you too. Yeah, yeah,
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
yeah. Cut. I loved them. I loved talking to them, and they were so wonderful and positive. And again, you guys, I will share the review of the film next week when the embargo lifts. But I want to thank Milo and Meg and Freya and Malachi for speaking to me. I really appreciate that they took time. FYI, but not really. So Milo Mannheim, his mother and I actually worked on a project together. It was a now defunct sitcom that was on CBS called Living Biblically. And she was very integral in me getting that job. So, I will always support her and hers because she looked out for me when it mattered most. Let's see what y'all are saying up in here. What are y'all saying up in the comments? What you saying? What you saying? Oh, hello, Jeannie Bastian. Thank you so much for popping through. I love you saying welcome to her. I love that you did that. Thank you so much. Bloom says, I can't wait for the movie, but I'm going to be on vacay. And then I was like, well, you can catch it when it comes out. Watch it on your vacay. They were like, I'm doing some things. And I'm like, well, it'll be there when you are ready to watch it. And Bloom said, I'm going to watch and see it with a friend too. You should definitely watch this with a friend. The more the merrier, baby. The more the merrier. So let's just recap what we talked about, shall we? We talked about Heads of State, which is on Prime Video, Dear Ms., which is streaming on HBO Max, Dora and the Search for the Sol Dorado, which is streaming on Nickelodeon, The Old Guard 2, which is streaming on Netflix, and check out Zombies 4 when it hits Disney Plus next week. I believe the embargo lifts in a couple of days, so I can't say nothing about it now, but I will say something about it then. When I come back in the next couple of weeks, I'll be talking about a MGM Amazon show called The Institute. This is another Stephen King stuff must be hot this year or something, but there is another Stephen King project called The Institute that stars Mary Louise Parker. Y'all might remember her from Weeds, that really popular show that was on a while ago. So I'm going to be speaking with some cast members from that. I'm also going to be speaking with some cast members from the new film Eddington, which stars Pedro Pascal, Joaquin Phoenix, Michael Ward, Deidre O'Connell, Austin Butler, and Academy Award winner Emma Stone. I'll also be in the coming weeks talking to Sterling K. Brown and the cast of Washington Black. But next week, the big thing we're going to be talking about, baby, is Superman. Superman is about to drop. And let me come back on camera because it was boo. There was some drama about Superman this week. So let me just address a couple of things before I go. This week, there was a journalist who talked about a film before the embargo. They leaked the review before the embargo. A couple of them did, actually. And this is the thing I'll say about that. I'm not trying to throw acid rain on nobody's parade, but when y'all do that, it makes it hard for freelancers like me, people of color, women of color, anybody that's trying to do this. It just makes the studios not want to invite us until they absolutely have to. And as of late, what they have started to do is invite us to what they call all media screenings, where they'll just invite all media that wasn't part of the junket to one big screening. And this is why, because people are trying to be first instead of just doing what the studio asked them to do. It's not that hard. Like, why you got to talk about it before it come out? It is really not that hard. Like, just follow the rules. The other thing I want to say is, no, actually, that was all I wanted to say. That was all I wanted to say. But again, you guys, thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for the new people that popped by and said hello because you wanted to hear about zombies and see the cast. So thank you for that. I appreciate you. I'm going to run. And if you haven't been here before and you want to see more of what I do or what I talk about, give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you were on YouTube, if you are watching this via Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Instagram, anything like that. Please just, subscribe to the channel and see what else we got coming up in the next couple of weeks. Okay. So until the next time, y'all. It is my pleasure to keep you informed. It is my pleasure. You said that. What else did you say to me? That wasn't awkward. Listen, I had to say it. It bared saying. And what you gonna do. And thank you for giving me my flowers. I much appreciate you. All right, y'all. Until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease, and deuces. When I see you on the flip side. Bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.